Hello, I am Voided and Lost, and we are playing in Minecraft Bedrock Edition, and this video will be a redstone tutorial video showing you how to make this moss-powered bone meal farm behind me. One of the other members that I play with over on the Bedrock server, Mike D. Craft, actually came up with the initial concept for this farm, and then he handed it off to me to refine the redstone and work on the timings and basically shrink the whole contraption down. And after I refined it as best I could, I did go online to look up moss-powered bone meal farms, and I came across Ilmango's video where he kind of showcased his design for the Java edition. And I liked his arrangement of dispensers and observers to bone meal the initial moss block there in the center, and how he uses the observer to crush the item that grows on top of the moss block. So I did borrow that little bit from just kind of seeing what Ilmango had going on his farm. And now with that all being said, let's hop over into a creative world and let's just start building. And what you will need for this build: a few blocks for the circuits, not many, 2 stairs, a couple of slabs, your choice on those, 28 redstone dust, 5 torches, 19 hoppers, 2 droppers, 8 dispenser, 7 pistons, 2 sticky pistons, 3 observers, 3 comparators, 19 repeaters, a lever, 9 target blocks, some chests, 1 moss block is all you need, 2 composters, a piece of soul sand, about 7 packed ice, and then a lectern and a book that has 30 pages in it and signed. In addition to that, you'll need some decorative blocks, of your choice, almost 2 stacks. Decorative blocks, about a half stack there. Again, I like using glass for my water columns, so that was about 40 blocks, but you can have those be solid. You'll need 2 buckets of lava, 7 water buckets, for inside dispensers, and then I would just get a water source because you'll need water in other areas as well, including your bubble column. You'll need some bone meal to start with. It doesn't even have to be this much, but you'll need some. And then as your hoppers fill up with bone meal, you'll want some non-stackable items for each hopper to help act as filler space. So this build is 20 blocks from front to back. It is 12 blocks wide, and then it is 9 blocks tall, with the main floor being at level 5. So if you were to count up, it's level 5. Now, as we can kind of see from that model over there, the back side is pretty much at our level 4, level 5. So if you have to dig this out, most of your digging is going to be in the front corner, which would be this section down here. So the front corner is your deepest part. The rest of it's going to be pretty much at level 4, level 5. So to start this build, we are going to come into the back corner. We're going to go over 2 blocks, 1, 2, and build up 4. From here, we are going to make a little platform that is a 3 by 2, just like that. And then here we are going to come up and over 1 block like that. So this is our starting point. On the inside here, we'll throw on a redstone torch, and then have a repeater on 3 ticks, a repeater on 4 ticks, come across with 2 bits of redstone dust, and then head back with, again, a repeater on 3 ticks and a repeater on 4 ticks. Now we've made ourselves a clock. On top of that block there, we'll do some dust, another block on top, and temporarily we're going to put a lever there to shut this off. Okay, from here we are going to come over 6 more blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and put redstone dust on all of those. Next, coming in here, we are going to put target blocks right there. and bring those down the line. So there should be 7 altogether. And then again, and here we are going to put regular pistons, just like that. Alright, real quick, I swapped all these blocks out for stone because we are going to be dealing with lava here in a second, and wool, like I have here in my hand, will burn. So yeah, these next blocks use something substantial like stone or sandstone. What we are going to do now that we have these pistons in, we are just going to fill in underneath them. We are going to come out and kind of come across like that. We're going to come on the side and up and even, cover across the top of the target blocks like that. Same thing on here, the side and up and forward, and come forward again, and then across the front, use regular stone. It's important that you use regular stone across here. What we are making is a stone generator, and this will be in the line, and that will be important basically to have stone there, and then cover over with something else like stone brick, sandstone, pretty much any other block of your choice. Down at the pistons, what we have to do now is just waterlog each of these pistons like that. Grab yourself some lava, and now one on each side of our center block. Put lava, one there, one there. Wait for it to spread. Yeah, there we go. That's all good. Nothing is leaking, which is perfect. And nothing is burning, which is even better. So now what we can do is let the stone generator run for a little bit. Make sure it runs well. Doesn't leak. Now I will say this is about the fastest that you can have this set to. Any faster, and it does not give the stone enough time to form with the lava, the flow rate of the lava between the piston pushes. And then once this is done, which is done, we can go ahead and turn off our clock. Okay, so now that we know the extent of how far our stone generator will push the stone, we can put some packed ice across the end of it, like that. And then back here on this side, count over 4 blocks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And go ahead and put in a row of dispensers. And in each dispenser, go ahead and put in a bucket of water. So all of these have water in them. Now these should be 7 blocks to the end of the stone. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So when they dispense water, it should only come to this point, which is perfect. Now this is going to be, this square here, the 7 by 7 square is going to be where the moss gets formed. And so to make sure the moss blocks come up when they break, we actually have to make sure there are blocks underneath it. So under all of this, make sure there are blocks under here. Now if you are digging this out, you can basically just not mine these blocks out. But if you are building it up in the air, you have to put blocks underneath. Like this. And we might as well bring those across there like that. Okay, 2 blocks thick. So that is good, just like that. Also now, since we know this area is going to be seen in the farm, you will want to use some decorative blocks. Go ahead and put blocks on top of all the dispensers. And then however you want to decorate, just decorate this and surround it with a wall that is 2 blocks tall. Just like this. Bring it all the way out to the end of your ice. Okay, now we are going to create a water channel under here. So let's go ahead and put in some blocks like that. And then again, just kind of build up to the end here like this. Put in a block there, a block here. Grab yourself a stair. Doesn't really matter what kind. Put in a stair there. Waterlog this stair. It's not leaking, and the water comes to the end here, which is again just what we want. Go ahead and put some planks around there like that. And we'll finish this up with a couple more blocks like that. So that is good for now. Next, let's come on over here to this last dispenser, and on top of these we will put redstone dust like that. I got a little ahead of myself. Let's take out this corner block and put in an observer right there like that, so that it faces out. And then we will build out a 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4 platform. Hope it does not catch on fire. And then we will come, actually I'm going to use stone here. We're going to come up and over like that with a block. And then a redstone torch here. And basically we're going to create another clock on this side. So that's a repeater, 4 ticks, repeater, 4 ticks, dust, dust, and dust. Then again a repeater, 4 ticks, 4 ticks, and 4 ticks. Now this clock runs the water, which is cool. Now what we will need to do is kind of sync these 2 clocks so that they run separately but start at the same time. And we can do that by putting some dust here, coming over, over, sorry, and there, and then on top of this torch, use a slab so that you don't create a short circuit. On this side, do a repeater. Over here, do 2 repeaters, and then connect with dust and dust. Now this line is our on-off line, and what you will probably want to do once the farm is done is run this line to the front of the farm so you can access it. But for now, we are going to leave it back here, and you do not need that lever there anymore. So go ahead and take that out. Now over here, let's kind of clean up this opening just a little bit better. Do that, and then we can come out and over into that spot, and that. There we go. Just kind of dresses that up. Let's go ahead and work in some hoppers. So from under here, let's come down once, twice, and over once, and then put in a composter here and here, and just take out these temporary blocks. Now into the composters, we'll have hoppers pointing down into each one. This one here that's in front of our water stream, we'll have another one pointing down into it, and one pointing that way. So the items will fall into this first hopper. This second composter hopper, we want one pointing there and then there. And basically, as items come into here, they will be sucked out first and sent to this composter. And then as this builds up, it will push items here and into this composter, which is perfect. Now, as the bone meal forms, it will be sucked out. And we will put that not here, but here. We want a dropper facing up. Very important that this is a dropper and not a dispenser, because we are dealing with bone meal, and dispensers will want to use the bone meal rather than shoot it up. And then just have hoppers, 3 of them, pointing into that, just like that. Now on top of the dropper, put some soul sand. And I like using glass just because I can see through it and see what's happening. But surround your soul sand with glass so that as the dropper shoots items up into it, they don't just come out the side. And you can actually build this up to there. And these can come up to the top of our wall. Like this, like this, like this, like this. And let's go ahead and fill this with water. Each spot gets a bucket of water, like that. We want to take a comparator reading on the dropper. And that's going to fire into a block there with redstone dust behind. A block here. A repeater. Another piece of dust here, and then a target block here so that we get this little bit of powered line powering this to power the dropper. And that should be good for that part. Next, let's come on to the inside. Here in the middle, let's count out 3 blocks, and then temporarily, let's come up 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's take these out. First, we'll have a hopper under that, pointing straight down, and that is going to point into a dropper, and the dropper is going to fire bone meal, in this case, into a dispenser, which is facing forward. The dispenser will be bone mealing our moss block. Up here, we want a sticky piston facing down and an observer looking out and able to fire this dropper here. On this side, we have another sticky piston facing forward and an observer again looking out and able to fire that sticky piston there. Now let us bring this line of hoppers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are 1 past our wall, and then have 1 more from the front. On top of this hopper, we'll have a double chest, like that. And then we have repeaters on top of our hoppers. The first one is just 1 tick. And then each of these others are going to be on 4 ticks, like that. And then we'll grab a slab, because we do not want to lock our corner hopper here, and have a slab there. And then a block here. Have a repeater, again on 4 ticks there, with dust in the corner. And down here, we'll add a target block off the end at that point, again to draw that signal. A redstone torch, a block, and a redstone torch. Yep, And we got our double action there, so that was good. So now we are getting pretty close to the end. We need to connect this bit, which is where our bone meal is coming up, into this line, which is feeding our moss block. And we have to figure out how to create the output for the extra bone meal that we are trying to collect. Now, this chest up here is going to be for not overflow so much, but as a cushion, so that if you do run this machine and something happens and it stops basically creating moss items but still sucks the bone meal through, that you don't lose it in the hoppers. That's kind of the key thing. You don't really want to lose items through the hoppers or have the hoppers suck items through. I will explain that here once I get the machine done, like how that could happen. But for now, just know that this is sort of your reservoir tank of bone meal. Yeah, the bone meal coming up through here will have to come to there. Let's grab ourselves a stair. Put a stair there. And again, I like using glass so I can see what's happening. There and here. We don't necessarily need that one in place, but to there. We are going to say that's coming all the way up to here. And then we'll have... Okay, we'll have glass here on the inside coming up. Mostly you'll be able to see that when you're standing outside the farm. We can have that come up. And so what we want to do is temporarily come down 2 blocks, put in a double chest here. Let's take these out and replace those with hoppers that are pointing down into that chest. Off of this one, we want a solid block there, and we will take a comparator reading off of this top chest. The comparator is going to fire into a solid block here. We'll have a solid block here with dust. We will come over and down, put dust on top of that, have another block here, a solid block here. In this opening we have a repeater, and on the other side of this block is a torch. This torch and block are basically locking these. Now, so our water stream doesn't fall out through here, let's go ahead and block that up too. There we go. So that should all contain our water column inside, but still be the solid blocks we need for this to work. Now, we also want to come out at this point with 3 more blocks, because we are going to make it so that this chest is adjustable. We can adjust how full this gets before it unloads. Now, to do that, we are going to put some dust here, a comparator there, and then in this corner we are going to put a lectern with a book with 30 pages in it. I use this quite a lot because I like how easy it is to set the signal strength. But you basically create a book that has 30 pages in it, write something on the last page, does not matter what, and then sign the book. Go ahead and put that in the lectern. Now, I want, for myself, I like having this chest half full before it empties. To do that, set this book to page 12. Oh, one more thing. This comparator, put in subtract mode, so that it will take the signal strength from the chest, subtract a power level of 6, and that will then work its way down at a certain point and release items into this chest once this is full enough. Okay, so now to prime the machine, to get it started, down here in the bottom dispenser, all you really need, actually all you really need is 1 bone meal, but go ahead and put 2 bone meal in this bottom dispenser, and that should be kind of enough to get you going. But if you have more, go ahead and put them in this top dropper. What you will find is this top dropper will fill up with 9 stacks of bone meal, and then it will start filling in through your hopper line. But you do not necessarily need all 5 slots to be filled with bone meal. So as this fills up, and I'm going to simulate that now. We're just going to say this gets filled up as the machine is running. Once this has a stack in it, then to save on the rest of these spots, put some non-stackable items in it. Okay, so you're not wasting all the bone meal in these slots. And then as this fills up, put some non-stackable items in it. Just like that. As this fills up, again, you get the idea. And what I was saying earlier about items being pulled through if you kind of run out of bone meal, that's what it is. If we lose this, then potentially a hoe or whatever that's in a one that's further back can come in and fill up that slot and block your machine. And you don't want that. You don't want that. Let's go ahead and actually verify on camera that this works. There we go. Hey, that part works. That part works. It went up. Bone meal's going up. Bone meal is... I'm not going to be able to see it through there. Bone meal is it coming into this one? It's draining out bone meal to the moss block. Oh, idiot. Ha. Don't forget. Hey, don't forget. Water. Don't forget. Let's fill up our water tower. There we go. Fill up the water tower and cover it over. That's why we run a test. That is why we run the test. Let's throw that bone meal back into there and run it some more. Does that work? There goes the bone meal, up and over, and yes. Alright, now we check the hopper. Right, it drains down, but it fills back up. Drains down, fills back up. There we go. And basically, as soon as we see that they stay in this first slot consistently, then we can put in the other hose. Okay, so now real quick, I'm going to fill this up with bone meal and show you the chest right there behind me and what I mean by it being the reservoir. Okay, I've gone ahead and I filled this up half full. All of these hoppers here are now full with the extra non-stackable items in them. They do not have to be diamond hose, but if we turn this on now and we watch inside the chest, this first slot is 63. When it reaches 64, it will drain items through. And we can actually even see that happening. Probably a little better by the blinking of this torch. So as we reach our limit there, it releases the hoppers to be able to send our quote-unquote extra bone meal down into this chest, which is just what we want. Now we can say perhaps we want more bone meal to fill up in here. To do that, we increase the page numbers in our book. So now, instead of hitting 64 and then just letting the bone meal through, we have to build it up further. See, I can start putting more bone meal in, like that. Now, if I say, hey, I want less bone meal to build up in here, I turn the pages back. That puts it back to half of a chest, and you see it just drains the items out because now they are all going down here. Or I could say, let's have even less in here, and it will just drain it out until I hit that level. And it's just going to keep filling down into here. Now for me though, like I say, I like half a chest. I think it's a good amount. There we go. And that's the extra. Okay, so this is the basic farm for getting bone meal. Now, if you guys want to see how you can convert this farm into the moss block farm to get the moss blocks, moss carpets, azaleas without any extra effort, leave a comment below to let me know that you'd be interested in seeing the conversion of this, because it is pretty useful sometimes to be able to get, especially like the moss carpets, to be able to mob proof some areas. But yeah. And like I say, this line you may want to just bring out. Come here. To the front of the farm. Just be careful to make sure you put in repeaters. Where it is necessary, so that your signal makes it all the way. And then yeah, you can just turn it on and off in the front. One other thing to be aware of: you do not want to leave the area with this running, because it can potentially not break so much as your water dispensers back there might get stuck on or off or not in sync with each other anymore. So generally you want the machine off when you leave the area. As far as I know, it does not have to be chunk aligned, which is always good. So when decorating, something to keep in mind, if you are to put a roof over this, your roof really should not be any lower than these hoppers, which is because if it is, then it blocks the spawning of the moss and the other items below. Which is kind of weird because you'd think, okay, how could that up there block anything from forming down here? But when you pay attention, these spots never get any moss on them because of this. And likewise, if you have any item, even back here at like that level, that will block anything from spawning here in that spot. So it'll be stone constantly in that one spot because that blocks it. Basically, I think the game figures that your spawning block, which is this one, needs to have like one air gap all the way around this whole area. And if there's something hanging down, then that's what determines what does not spawn down here. So just keep in mind, any roof has to be this level or higher. So if you have any questions or issues with it, leave me a comment down below, especially if you have any issues. I will try to help walk you through whatever it might be. I hope you liked the tutorial. If you did, hit that like button. If you haven't yet and like some of my other stuff, think about subscribing. But until next time, have fun and see ya!